Here's your wrestling news for July 20th, 2021. And your headlines for today include: the women's division heats up on Raw with a big change. Who is behind Nikki A.S.H winning the Raw Women's Championship? Several superstars react to Nikki's win. Why Keith Lee lost clean to Bobby Lashley. Lee reacts post-match. Fans angry at WWE's booking. Why Goldberg was brought back. John Cena's return to WWE Raw. Next appearance is set. 2 matches announced for Rolling Loud. Is WWE silently bringing back Braun Strowman? Bronson Reed hints at joining Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. Reported reason for WWE SmackDown cancellation, new venue decided on. Karrion Kross has the most underwhelming Raw debut, and more. We're kicking off today with Raw, which saw the Raw Women's title be arguably the most important championship on the show. Charlotte Flair was certainly in high spirits despite the fact that her 14 reigns as Women's Champion had been reduced to 11, as WWE is no longer counting her 2 NXT Women's title reigns or her time as Women's Tag Team Champion. With 5 Raw, 5 SmackDown, and 1 Divas title to her name, it tallies up to 11, but the Queen's coronation was quickly interrupted by Rhea Ripley, who eventually got the crowd on her side. Goading Flair into a title match, which was made official by Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, the pair had a fine match, but it wasn't on par with their Money in the Bank bout. Raw's match ended with a DQ win for Ripley, who attacked Flair post-match, which gave Nikki A.S.H the chance to cash in successfully, becoming the new Raw Women's Champion. This means that 3 out of 5 women's briefcase holders have cashed in on Flair, those being Carmella, Bayley, and Nikki, and 4 of the women's Money in the Bank winners have only held the briefcase for a day or less. The biggest problem is that this marks another transitional reign for Flair, as there's no point boasting about her several title reigns when many of them have lasted mere days or even minutes. Another huge problem is that the crowd are itching for Becky Lynch to return, and we wouldn't be surprised if Nikki's reign is cut short in favor of a more marketable program. WWE should have gone for Flair vs. Lynch for SummerSlam, while letting Nikki hold the briefcase for longer, but we'll have to see what the future holds for the new Raw Women's Champion. Cashing in just 24 hours after her ladder match win, Nikki dethroned Charlotte Flair to win the gold, much to the delight of the fans and fellow WWE superstars. Both members of the Viking Raiders sent out their congrats, and Ember Moon reacted to Nikki's big win with an emphatic "Hell yeah!" Big Damo, aka Killian Dane, Nikki's husband, tweeted a heartfelt all-caps message of happiness over his wife's win, and Mick Foley said her win was for everyone who was told they weren't good enough to follow their dreams. Tommaso Ciampa, Shelton Benjamin, and plenty more superstars gave their congratulations, as the new Raw Women's Champion certainly has a lot of friends in the company. Of course, there's only one person Nikki needs to impress, and according to our sources, that's what she's done. As a report reads, Vince loves the gimmick and feels that she's opened up a world of opportunities to sell more merchandise for her and do some community outreach with the kids. She took the initiative and she got rewarded last night. Nikki went from being massively underused earlier this year to becoming Miss Money in the Bank and the Raw Women's Champion, as her desire to work has clearly paid off for the Scottish superstar. More from Raw, and after months away, Keith Lee returned last night, but his return was strange to say the least. Answering the open challenge of WWE Champion Bobby Lashley, but failing to pick up the win, immediately after losing, the attention turned to the returning Goldberg, who's expected to face Lashley at WrestleMania. We understand that Goldberg has a minimum 2 matches a year on his contract, but if WWE really wanted to usher in a new era, then there was a different option on the table last night. Rather than Lee lose to Lashley, WWE should have booked Goldberg vs. Lashley on Raw, which the Almighty would have dominated, before Lee made his return. Setting up Lee vs. Lashley for SummerSlam, the idea of these 2 monsters colliding sounds more interesting than Lashley vs. Goldberg, and even if he lost at the pay-per-view, merely being in the WWE title picture would have helped re-establish Lee as a huge star on Raw. Judging by what we actually saw, WWE isn't considering Lee a potential main eventer anymore, but at least Lee finally got to wrestle again, and thanked the fans in Dallas via Twitter, saying that WWE will have no choice but to listen to their support if they keep it up. As for Goldberg, Lashley is expected to retain at SummerSlam, continuing his wave of momentum ever since he won the title in March. We're pretty sure Goldberg can't jackhammer the 273-pound frame of the Almighty, but with the result a foregone conclusion, it only shows why it should have been Lee versus Lashley at SummerSlam. We understand why WWE is booking Goldberg for SummerSlam, as he's a far more marketable name for the show, hence his return to Raw. With 60,000 to 70,000 fans expected to pack Allegiant Stadium, SummerSlam will literally be bigger than WrestleMania, which didn't use many part-time performers but only needed to sell 25,000 tickets for each night. With no restrictions, WWE needs to sell tickets, and that's something Goldberg and John Cena can certainly do, meaning vocal fans against Bill's return will just need to accept that he's a legitimate draw who puts eyes on the product. Right now, there's no larger-than-life superstars from this generation, and the odds of a new Goldberg-level star coming around seem slim to none. WWE may not want to rely on yesteryear's superstars, but while they have the option for Cena and Goldberg to appear, it'd be foolish not to take it. For all of Goldberg's criticisms, the Hall of Famer has lost clean more times since 2017 than his entire career before then, with his WrestleMania 33 defeat to Brock Lesnar his first ever clean loss in the ring, and he's since lost to names like The Undertaker, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre. One could argue that Raw has a huge babyface problem right now, and that hole is being filled by Goldberg. Drew McIntyre was Raw's top babyface for over a year, until the Lashley program meant he had to step down the card, which was the best action to take as he's now in a lighter non-title feud with Jinder Mahal, which will do wonders for Drew's popularity. The only other big faces on Raw are Randy Orton and AJ Styles, who's supposed to be a heel, but both are preoccupied with the tag team division. SmackDown's roster is evidently more stacked, especially with top babyfaces, and whilst Goldberg has spent his career asking who's next, when we look at Raw and the plan to push the part-timer into the WWE title picture yet again, we can only ask, who else? But what do you make of Goldberg's return, Lee's return, and the WWE title picture? Let us know in the comments. Speaking of returns, John Cena returned to Raw this week, kicking off the show with a pop that rivaled the one he received at Money in the Bank. Cena made his intentions clear, challenging Universal Champion Roman Reigns for a SummerSlam match nearly 4 years after Reigns beat him at No Mercy 2017. There were some undertones from the 2017 feud last night, such as Cena saying Reigns thinks he's over, and we hope Cena doesn't use the same insider joke promos that failed to work 4 years ago, especially since Reigns is unquestionably over now. Cena's accusation that Reigns isn't over may have been true in 2017, but not now, and either way, this is going to be an exciting feud that'll see him challenge for his 17th world title. The decision for Cena to be on Raw was obviously because WWE wanted to peak early ratings and possibly ticket sales if the show wasn't already sold out. Fans genuinely seemed excited by the way that Raw opened this week, and one has to believe that they expected a little more than they got, but it's always cool to see that Cena still considers WWE his home and the crowd his family. We also appreciate John giving Riddle the rub in a brief segment between them, but we imagine John won't be joking the next time he comes face to face with the Tribal Chief. With WWE declaring this the summer of Cena, fans will be seeing a lot of the 16-time world champion, including this Friday on SmackDown. Cena has been confirmed for this Friday's show, which will air from 2 locations, both Cleveland, Ohio, and the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami, Florida. Cena's SmackDown appearance was first reported by Fightful and later confirmed by WWE themselves in what'll be a historic night for the Blue brand. Friday's SmackDown will also see SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair defend her title against Carmella and Big E versus Apollo Crews, with both matches taking place at Rolling Loud. Friday's show will also see the SmackDown debut of Toni Storm, and time will tell what the former NXT UK Women's Champion accomplishes on the Blue brand. On June 2nd this year, WWE released Braun Strowman from his contract, but someone must not have told the team at WWE's shop. That's because 2 new pieces of Strowman merch released yesterday, a Monsters Are Real muscle shirt and tank top. Strowman's 90-day non-compete clause means he'll be a free agent on August 31st, and AEW have reportedly been interested in him, and he in them, and Strowman recently compared his non-compete clause to being in jail. There's no word on if this merchandise means there's been a change in Strowman's WWE status, but releasing shirts for a released superstar is an interesting move for the company to make. Now, before Money in the Bank, fans saw the Usos become 7-time Tag Team Champions, defeating the Mysterios to win the SmackDown Tag Team Gold on the kickoff show. Now, the Bloodline has both the SmackDown Tag titles and Universal title, but the group could be adding a new member very soon. When Roman Reigns shared a photo of himself and his cousins, Bronson Reed replied, hinting that he'd bring the Intercontinental Championship to the faction if he was allowed to join. A former NXT North American champion himself, Reed had been one of several superstars to have main roster tryouts as of late, and made his main roster debut on the June 21st main event, defeating Drew Gulak. Interestingly, Reed stated earlier this month that he'd immediately challenge Reigns if he's called up to SmackDown, but it appears Reed had a change of heart and is now ready to acknowledge the head of the table. Last week it was reported that the September 17th edition of SmackDown had been cancelled, and now we know why. According to F4W Online, only 1,700 tickets had been sold at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia as of last week, which caused WWE to move the show. In an update from PW Insider, the show will now take place in Knoxville, Tennessee, and although no venue has been named yet, SmackDown will likely air from the Thompson Boiling Arena on the campus of the University of Tennessee. This isn't the only show to be changed, as the non-televised August 8th Super Show, which was meant to be at the Exactech Arena in Gainesville, Florida, has been canceled too, as the company is struggling to sell out some shows despite fans being away for over a year. And we're ending with Raw, which saw an appearance from NXT champion Karrion Kross. The most protected and dominant superstar in NXT, the 2-time and reigning NXT champion made his Raw debut last night, losing to Jeff Hardy, who had been on a downward slump in 2021. The only positive was that Jeff finally got his No More Words theme back, but that doesn't undo the bizarre booking for Jeff to beat the NXT champion and cheat in the process, using the ropes for leverage. We can't imagine there was any logic behind this match, as Kross has always been a star who's protected, and post-match insisted that Jeff had made the biggest mistake of his life. We can only hope that Kross doesn't lose momentum after this loss on Raw, which also didn't see Scarlett at ringside, yet another mistake. Kross is still the reigning NXT champion, but we imagine that Triple H won't be happy with the booking from Raw, and losing to Jeff Hardy, who's been little more than a jobber in 2021, wasn't an ideal way for the NXT champion to celebrate his 36th birthday. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.